Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to get back to the basics with you guys, and I'm going to teach you step by step how to do this beautiful landscape with the rolling hills and easy clouds, and let's get it. Okay guys, so let's get straight on into it. Let's go through the supplies that we're going to be using for this video, right? So here's my brushes. These are a different myriad of brushes that I use on a regular basis. These are called cat's tongue brushes. These are by the art Sherpa, but most people will not be able to get these brushes. So if you don't order it directly from her website or from thebrushguys.com. But again, I will leave all the links below so you guys can utilize that at your leisure, right? So you can use any brush that you have available. Any brush will do, from Michaels or whatever, bristle brush, but you're gonna need a brush that's gonna be able to do the job. You know, like I always say, right? So I'm gonna use this big bright that I have. It's a size 20 by, who is it by? Is it a ruby satin silver brush. And it's a beautiful brush. I love it. And then you're gonna need a scumbler or some sort of blender brush for your clouds. If you don't have that, you can utilize a round brush or whatever you have available. And we're working in acrylics today, you guys. So here's all my colors that I'm gonna be using throughout the video. It's quick and easy, right? So we have our primary colors. I'm using, and you can use whatever acrylics that you have available as long as it's a primary set of blue, red, and yellow. Now these sets, just in case you don't know, you cannot actually mix primary colors, so you would have to actually buy them. So you can, if you can't get the Liquitex Basics, which is the one I usually get, you can always go ahead and pick up some craft paint or something like that. But any blue will do, because you want to have a gradient, right? And we're going to be doing a gradient for the sky, so this is why I'm explaining it like that. So let's go over the colors really quick, and then we're going to get to the fun part, which is laying out our sky. So I have ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, cadmium yellow, titanium white, I have black, and I have a little bit of red on my palette, okay, which is going to be used to gray out my sky. Plus my palette knife, which is good if you want to save your brushes. Let me put my brushes to the side. If you want to be able to save your brushes, I would definitely recommend that you use a palette knife. As you can see, I'm going to do here to go ahead and mix your colors, because you definitely do not want to mess up your brushes, you guys. Because over the long term, mixing paints and stuff like that with your brushes will definitely end up getting into the ferrules, and you don't want to do that. You know, you want to try to keep your brushes for a long time, especially if you get expensive brushes. Like some of the brushes that I have are expensive, so yeah. So anyway, on our reference photo, we have a dark gradient in our sky. We go from dark to super almost white at the bottom of our horizon line. I took the liberty of using a watercolor pencil and went over across with the watercolor pencil to signify where my land is going to meet my sky. Now this is good for you guys out there, especially if you're a newbie, or maybe you're new to landscape painting, or whatever the case may be. You want to go ahead and lay these things out prior to painting on the canvas, so that you don't lose your place and you know exactly where things belong until you get the hang of it. You know what I'm saying? So I got my ultramarine blue. I'm going to mix up different gradients of that. I like to mix blues because it gives me a richer value. So I'm going to mix the phthalo with the ultramarine blue. Okay. And then as we move from the top of the sky down to the bottom, I'm going to we're going to gradually, okay, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to gradually add white, right? So you see how we get gradually lighter? I only added a little bit of white. And that gave me a little bit of a lighter version of that blue, right? And I'm going to add a little bit of red. Here's a quick trick. And that little bit of red, just a tip, will gray out. You don't want it to turn purple, but it will gray out your colors so you don't have a super high chroma, bright sky. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to continuously add more. I think I got a little bit of yellow in there, but I'm going to add more white. All right? You can see we're adding more white. I think I added too much white, but that's okay because you can always put back value. It's not really a big deal, you know what I'm saying? And I like to mix my colors beforehand because acrylics tend to dry very quick, you guys. So it's good to go ahead and mix these values ahead of time so you don't have these issues. And while I'm on the subject, right, you guys, let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Danielle. I'm the artist behind Creative Girl of Color. And on this channel, you'll find a lot of things like art tutorials, podcasts, art vlogs, you know, the occasional, maybe I may do a jewelry like tutorial in the future because I do also make jewelry. So if you guys love that sort of content, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to turn all your notifications on. Hit the bell for all notifications. And give a girl a thumbs up because I would really enjoy that, okay? It helps out my channel. It's good for everybody, okay? So see, we got a lighter value going down there. You can also add a little bit more red if you want to continuously. Don't add too much red, you guys. You only need a smidge, okay? And there's our lighter. You see, so we already have our different gradients right there. All right. And at the very bottom, you want that to be just strictly white. Like, you want barely no blue in it at all. Okay. Remember what I said. It's good to do your mixes prior to painting because acrylics dry really quick. Right? Yeah, and that's the skinny on that bit. They dry really quick. Like before you know it, the whole thing will be drying up and tacking up. Now, if you start to see that your stuff is drying up as you go down, you can also dip your brush into your water. You want to have clean water, a bowl of clean water next to you, next to your station where you can reach it right away. If you see that it starts to dry up, you want to go ahead and dip a little bit of water in. So, but not a lot because then that can break down the chemical compounds of your paint, right? And we definitely don't want to do that. And then you have all sorts of dry, cracked paint and lifting going on, right? So that's the whole purpose of that. Or you can get an acrylic glazing liquid, which I'm going to show you right now, which is that. This is a beautiful product. I tell people about this stuff all the time. It's by Golden. It's acrylic glazing liquid. I get the gloss, but you can get it in satin and I think in even matte, okay? You're definitely going to want to go ahead and varnish your painting after. If you want to varnish it, you definitely should be varnishing. But you should varnish it after you use the acrylic glazing liquid because you don't want any high glossy spots in your painting and it'll be looking inconsistent. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So, anywho, let's get started. Okay, now as you can see, I'm going to spray just a smidge, right? You just want to get a little bit of spray on here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my biggest brush, which is my number 20 Ruby Satin Silver Bright. I'm going to get my brush nice and wet. You want to go ahead and drag off the excess. You can't really see my water bottle from here, but yeah, you can hear it. Drag off the excess. Make sure you don't have a bunch of water in here, but you want your brush to be damp. Okay, you don't want it to be dripping, but you want it to be damp. Now, you can also add a little bit of black to this darkest version of blue so that you can have that kind of vignette or halo type of thing. But this is our first layer. We can always go back into the black. Go back into the black. Okay, you guys? I'm going to pour a little bit of glazing liquid on here. And I'm going to show you the first part, and then I'm going to speed you guys up. Now, this acrylic glazing liquid is good for extending the drying time of your paint, while also it's great for blending. So if you're one of those people who have a really hard time with blending, and you feel like, you know, your stuff is looking patchy or some other issues going on, try acrylic glazing liquid. Okay, so I'm gonna get a little bit on my brush. I kind of got too much because you don't want to get like too much of it, right? And then we're gonna go in a horizontal fashion from side to side, and we're gonna keep this side to side motion. Okay, you guys? And we want to just get some sort of coverage here. The side to side motion, horizontal motion, and that's gonna signify I'm gonna get more of my kind of like, you can see the acrylic glazing liquid is very shiny, very glossy. You know what I'm saying? And you want to just do that top. I'm actually, and just in case you guys are wondering, I'm using an 8x10 canvas. And I got it from my local Michael's. You can get these things from whatever is available in your neighborhood. And you want to go that third, right? Top of the canvas, the third of the canvas. Now, you want to do this stuff quickly because, again, acrylics dry quickly, you guys. Especially if you're new to this, work as quickly as possible. Keep your brush damp. Try to keep your brush really damp. And if you need to, put a little more acrylic glazing liquid to keep this stuff. You see how it starts to kind of melt it down and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm going to speed you guys up. I'm going to slowly add more and more white as we're going to go through our mixtures, and we're going to get right down into here, into our horizon line, and we're going to be pure white at this point. Okay, so let's get it. Okay, and we're back, you guys. So we've done our sky, we've put everything in, and we went from dark to light. And this is where our stopping point is. Now, if you have an issue, like if you're really a newbie and you're just starting out, you never done, or maybe you just never done a landscape, you could also utilize some tape right here, and that will give you a very straight horizon line. But you should definitely take that tape off before your paint dries and you get a harsh line. So, but I'm pretty comfortable with doing it, and acrylics are very forgiving. So you can always paint over things if you feel like you really don't like something, you know what I'm saying? So let's get into the greens here. Now, I always say, greens are not all created equal, right? So there's different types of greens. Now, if you want to add depth to your painting, right? Since we're gonna work on the rolling hills, because it has rolling hills, which is what I want to depict. It has rolling hills in the reference photo. So, if you want to make it seem like things are further away, you would actually add a different yellow. So yellow and blue make a green, right? But all yellows and all blues are not created equal. They all gonna give you a different effect. So you want an earthy green, an olive green for your back rolling hills, that's why I got out some yellow ochre, right? So I got some yellow ochre here. That's like a very soft, very cool green, yellow, sorry. And I'm gonna mix ultramarine blue, not phthalo, but ultramarine blue, or you could do a primary blue. I'm gonna mix that in. Okay, you guys? You following? And I'm gonna mix that, and you see how I get this rich, beautiful olive green, right? Now I'm gonna use that olive green to signify that I have depth in my painting, to signify that my rolling hills are further back in my painting. Now, why do we want to do that? We want to do that basically for atmospheric perspective, right? So we want to make it seem like, give the viewer the illusion like you have these beautiful rolling hills way, way, way in the background, and you really just painted the hell out of that, when meanwhile it's just an illusion of color, right? Or value, right? So you're just gonna gray out those back those back rolling hills. Now, if you happen to not have yellow ochre, you could also do yellow oxide, yellow ochre. I think you could do like even an azo yellow. You could probably get away with. Like a what is it called? It's a really good yellow that I really, really like. I don't remember what it is right now, but once I remember, I'll put it down in the comments, okay? But I mean, so yeah, we got our beautiful olive green. This is what we're gonna use for our back hills, which will be right here. But boom, I'm gonna add a little bit of white to it. Why am I adding white? Because I don't want it to be like a full-blown, I want to still desaturate. And white, titanium white is a very cool color by itself, right? Or you could even add a light blue. That's another trick. If you don't have yellow ochre and you need to go ahead and do just a cadmium yellow, right? And I'll show you in just a minute what the cadmium yellow is going to give you as far as color is concerned, right? So you can just go ahead and just add a light blue to your cadmium yellow, okay? Because this is just a yellow ochre. Okay, now we want to do our front facing. Now, as you move towards the foreground is basically the ground right in front of you, right? So the rolling hills right in front of you is going to be a more saturated, a more brighter, in your face type of green, okay? That's the only way I could kind of explain it, right? Because a lot of people don't really explain this, you guys. They really don't. Like, when I learned how to paint, people were not explaining like the differences in the greens and how to get different things to look different ways to add depth to your painting. So these front hills, once you get to the foreground, the further you are, closer you are, the darker, the more saturated, the brighter and things are gonna look. So I'm gonna mix up. I'm not even gonna clean off my brush because a little bit of this is not going to hurt. I'm actually going to mix up Ultramarine. I'm not really messing with the phthalo too much, okay? And see, I got Ultramarine right there. Hopefully you can see it. Yeah, you can see it. Okay, so you got Ultramarine right there. Cadmium Yellow. You can see it's already making a green. And it's a bright green, so that tells me I have a little bit of phthalo even mixed into there. Which is not a problem, but if you have like phthalo mixed into things, that'll give you like a golf course kind of green. And I don't know if we want things to look like a golf course, but I mean, I don't know. You could kind of make it look like a golf course if you really wanted to make it look like that. You know? If you want it to be like really bright and green, that's fine as long as it's in the foreground. Now, you can see there's a total difference, right? In the different greens that I just mixed up, depending on the type of yellow and the type of blue that you utilize, right? Now, I want a brighter green. So, I'm even going to leave this light blue right here. That's fine, right? It's all relative because blue and green go together. It's not going to hurt it if you get a little bit of white in there, if you get a little bit of extra blue in there. So, there we go. I got a lighter green. Look at that. The more yellow you add and the more white you add, the brighter your values will get. Hopefully you're seeing this. Okay. So there we go. I got like 3 different values of green. And we're going to say the yellow and the whites for highlights. Pure yellows, pure whites is good for highlights. Now, what type of brush are we going to use for... A lot of times that was very confusing for me also in the beginning. What type of brush do I use if I want to make grass or, you know, get texture and things like that? Yada, yada, yada. That was very hard for me, and a lot of people wasn't explaining that stuff. They were just like, oh, you know, tap, 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 put it on there, yada, 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 and boom. No, that wasn't the case, okay? That was not the case. Now, you can utilize a multitude of different things when it comes to grass. There's really no one way to do it, but I'm just showing disclaimer. When I do different tutorials and do different things, I'm basically showing you my way, right, you guys? My way of doing things, but there are many different ways. There is not a wrong way to make art and to do things. But if you want to make it prettier, make your art maybe more appealing, more pretty, more saturated, more luminosity, then you would want to kind of follow some of these order of operations. But this is just my one way. So you should definitely be studying different techniques as you go through. So I'm looking kind of for like a bristle brush so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. But you can actually use a filbert or you can use a cat's tongue. In this case, I'm going to use a cat's tongue or find a brush that looks like this. And I'm going to be tap, tap, tapping and dabbing this on, right? I'm going to follow my rolling hills, right? Follow it around. So I'm going to give you a quick show and then we're going to speed you up because I've already done my values. Remember what I said. It's good to mix your colors beforehand because then you are already prepared and you don't have to worry about things drying up on you while you're in the mix, because that's half the battle, right? A lot of times people get frustrated. You're in the middle of painting, you're feeling yourself, you're feeling the painting, you're in the groove, and boom, things start drying up and going crazy, and you're like, oh my God, what just happened? Okay, so since we're going in the back here, right? We're in the back here, and so I'm starting from the back and I'm gonna move to the front. So I'm gonna get my olive green, right? And remember, this is just the initial base. Remember, you guys, the key to a beautiful acrylic painting, especially acrylic, is all about the layers. If you want something to look full, rich, and luminescent, you definitely want to add your layers here. Okay? So I have like a little hill here, and it's like one little one here, and then we have like a little one here. Now keep your brush wet. It's okay if you go over your horizon, because 9 times out of 10 that's where your vanishing point is anyway. And then we have something here. These are like little small ones, and then one here. Alright, now this stuff is all probably going to be covered up. And just go ahead and smooth it out. There's not really much in the middle right here, so I wouldn't really worry about it. I would not really worry about it. Anyway, so we're going to spread this out. Okay, so we're going to stop there. And that's pretty much the as much as I want to put as far as the olive green goes. Go ahead and wash out your brush. And we're going to add the next value in. So I'm going to speed you guys up so you can see that in action, okay? So I took the different variations of green and I started to block them in slowly from, and of course we're working from dark to light. So I use my darkest values, and we have different variations of stuff going on in these grasses, you guys. Because, I mean, in real life, that's what it looks like. If you were out and about and looking at the grass, you're going to see all these different colors in the grass, right? So that's pretty much what I did. And I started to fiddle around with the sky, and I added an additional layer. Because remember what I said, acrylics is all about the layers, you guys. And I added some acrylic glazing liquid to smooth everything out and still have my different gradients. And I added a little black at the top to make it nice and dark and rich. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, you guys, so this would be a good time. We've already blocked in our sky, and we put in a second layer. We blocked in the grass. Don't worry about the grass at this point. I mean, as long as your values are right, as you can see, we have our lighter value going towards the back to give us depth, and then we got darker and darker, and I added a lot of black right around here. Now, this will be a good time to stop. Go ahead and dry your painting. Now, you can either wait about 15 to 20 minutes and let it dry fully, or you can go ahead and use a blow dryer and let it cool down for a few minutes and then begin again. Okay, and voila, just like magic, it's dry. Yes. Okay, so I grabbed a bristle brush, which, if you don't know what that is, it has all these like weird, it's like a synthetic wiry type of brush, and it's very good for texture and grass. This is when we're going to get into our second layer of grass. We're going to work on that, and then we're going to get into the clouds, you guys. All right, so I want to add more texture onto my grass, so I'm going to get into my mid-tone grass level, and I'm going to mix it with the like yellow ochre type of thing, and then I'm gonna mix it with the yellow ochre type of thing right here. And I'm gonna get a little bit on my brush. You don't want too much, but you want enough, right? You don't want to soak it. You just want enough where you can lightly kind of dab, right? And once you dab, right, And that's what we're going to do. We're going to start on these back things again. And you see how I get that light? If I tap very light across here, I'm going to start to get these like little things of grasses, right? Our grasses. Because that's what we want. But you want to hold your brush upwards and tap, tap, tap. And it's okay if you have a little bit of texture kind of peeking through. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to continue this tapping motion. All the way through, you guys. All the way through. Now, the fun thing about grass is that you can add all sorts of colors. Because remember, in real life, grass has so many different colors. Like you see like brown spots and green spots and yellow. And the closer we are, remember what I was saying before, the closer you get to your foreground, the more, right, the lighter things will be. And then we'll add our shadows and stuff in once we get this stuff kind of laid down. And I'm just going to go wild with it. I mean, you can pretty much just add different colors. Browns, greens, even a little bit of red, like burnt sienna or something like that. Or even if you want to add like a little red. But, you know, stick to kind of like the light greens right here. I'm actually going to take a dry, clean brush and I'm going to actually brush off some of this green at the top. You can actually, that's the fun thing, you can wipe this stuff off if you make a mistake before it actually dries. Or you can just, once it dries, then you can just go back over it with, let's say some white, right? And then we have white. We have white and light, you know what I'm saying? So you can actually end up going back over it with some white, which is great too. Because it gives that like majestic thing right there. So I'm going to continue. And you want to go in a direction whichever way you feel like your hills should be, right? So, and then you can kind of leave spaces and let a little bit of that dark kind of peek through. Let it peek on through. You know what I'm saying? Let the dark fly through. And I want kind of like my hill to go this way, so you can leave a little bit of dark there. And continue around, continue tapping. Tap, tap, tap. Get your life. Right? And you want to kind of tap and twist at the same time. If you don't like something, brush it out before it dries, right? And that's kind of what I'm going to do here, because I'm not feeling it. Ooh, and then see, we have even lighter right here. which is okay. But make sure you leave a little bit of dark under here. If you happen to cover that up, you can always go back and do something else if you happen to cover that up. And I want to go right across here, right across. Twisting and turning. You see how it makes these textures? And you get like these beautiful, gorgeous textures. But leave those holes, and towards the bottom, that's where I'm kind of smooth it out, because that's going to be like the bottom of my hill. That's what I like. That's what I'm feeling. But do whatever you like. Do whatever you feel at the moment. Because remember, guys, it's your painting. And it's whatever's going to make you happy. I probably should tape this down. Okay, so I'm going to speed you up. And then I'm going to continue to just lay these layers in. And then we will be back. Yay! So we're done with our sky and all of our grasses. So now we're going to get to the fun part, the part that we all been waiting for. We're going to get to the clouds, you guys. And I've taken the liberty. I've already I've got me some fresh water, because you definitely need some fresh water after you've done all of those green grasses and blue skies. You don't want any muddy water that's gonna do anything to your clouds, right? Because our clouds are gonna be like mostly white, right? And I put out some new colors. I got like ultramarine blue light. I have permanent green, which is a beautiful color that you're not gonna be able to mix. So I bought this as a convenience color, a pre-made color from Liquitex Basics. I got a little bit of black, some burnt umber, and of course white for our clouds. But I just put out these other colors to basically add, because I'm not really happy with this grass part. So I'm just going to be fiddling around with that after we pop these clouds in. So what I'm going to do with the clouds, I'm going to show you a quick demo of the clouds, and then I'm going to speed you guys up, right? So I have my scumbler brush out. I'm going to get a little bit of white, right? A little bit of blue, which is ultramarine blue light. That's a pre-made color. I'm gonna get a dot of white, black, I mean. I'm actually gonna wipe some of that excess off, because I want a blue-gray kind of base. I'm mixing up a blue-gray so that we can have a base for our clouds. Why do I need that for the clouds? Because even though clouds look super white, they're really not white. They have, you know, all of these different variations, and hopefully you can see me mixing, yeah. They have all of these different variations in them, you guys, right? So I want to mix up, so it's mostly going to be like this light blue. And if you don't have this color, all you have to do is get a little bit of whatever blue you have and put white into it, and you're good, and you get this color, right? So now we have like this pretty pretty blue gray, which is beautiful for the base of my clouds. Now I'm wiping most of that off because I don't want a lot of it. And the fun part is I'm going to go in and start just laying it around. If you don't have this brush, go ahead and get your round brush out, or utilize any brush that you have available. But it's best to have a round brush or some sort of brush with a tip so that you can go around and around in a circular motion. I could probably show you on my palette paper right here, because that's pretty much what we're going to do, like this, right? We're going to make these little cloud formations, blase blase, and you want to leave like little like spaces and stuff like that. That's exactly what we're going to be doing. You see this motion as I'm kind of moving in a circular motion back and forth, and then I'm gonna take a clean dry cloth, and you see, look at that looks like a little cloud already on my palette paper, but it's in a gray form, so we're just laying down our base. Right now, the fun part about clouds is that the bigger and brighter that they are, the closer that they seem towards the viewer. The smaller and lighter they are, the farther away they look, right? So we're gonna start off, let's do like a big cloud, and we're gonna do it further to the ground, probably midway. Yeah, and I'm kind of looking at my reference photo, but you can follow along what I'm doing here. Now the fun thing about clouds is that they don't need to be like this big thing. Like a lot of times people are like, you know, having breakdowns about the clouds or whatever. And I make a little one right here. They have like these little fun shapes that you can do. So like I say, a lot of people make these big deal about the clouds, but there's really no one way to make clouds, right? Clouds come in all shapes and forms, just like people. So, and you never know. I mean, if you go outside at any given time, and I'm actually going up, and I'm going to just make these like whatever I see in my reference. You have something that goes down here. And again, this is just our base. We're going to save our supreme bright highlights, which is the whites. We're going to save that. And then this is like a big fluffy one, right? But we're going to get like creative with it, right? And we're not going to go too far up. We're going to make that look like a ball almost, right? That's what we're going to do with that one. Kind of make that like a ball. But yeah, you know, if you go outside at any given time, you will see that the clouds are constantly changing, even within the 1 hour that you may be outside. At any given time, the clouds are constantly kind of moving and grooving, and they have all of these different formations that they form. They, you know what I'm saying, like pretty much get in formation, you know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't even like worry about it, you know, or feel like, oh boom, I gotta have like these certain type of clouds. You can just do anything, right? Okay guys, so you could see that I pretty much added a lot of shadows to the bottom of the clouds, and I saved my harshest, whitest highlights for the top of the clouds, like the very tippy tops. I just like dab, 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 and you know what I'm gonna always say, it's all about the layers, right? So that's what it's all about. Okay, you guys, so that is all we have for today. We are at the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me show you a little bit. Still a little wet, but you can see it looks pretty good, right, you guys? I added, like, I fiddled around a lot with the grass, and you can do that, right? When it's dry and everything is complete, and you feel like, hey, I don't like it, you can always go back and add stuff. That light green permanent was really good for the grass. I'm really digging how it looks. You can see the clouds are gorgeous, nice and fluffy. Okay, and I want you guys to check out my brand spanking new art book / notebooks, hot off the presses, you guys. You can pick you up a copy over in my Etsy shop. It actually has a printed cover of my latest painting called Melanin Popping. And they're super cute. They're great for writing down those 2020 goals and jotting down your ideas on the go. This is a great way for you guys to support the channel. If you're loving the content and if you love me, I would really appreciate it. All your support goes a long, long way to me making beautiful content and more exclusive content for you guys. Everything's going to be down in the description box below. And as usual, I love you guys so, so much, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.